Hello and welcome to the Chatterbox Letters podcast. I am going to be reading my very large Chatterlike letter to my listeners. This book, aka Chatter Letter, is called Holds. I hope you will enjoy as I read Holds in audio format. I will be reading chapter by chapter so it will seem interesting as you are curious to know the whole story at its entirety. Introducing Holds by Louis Sachar. I will be reading chapter 17. Uh, chapter 17. For the next week and a half, the boys continued to dig in and around the area where X-ray had supposedly found the gold tube. They widened X-ray's hole as well as the holes Armpit and Squid had been digging until the fourth day, when they all three holes met and formed one big hole. As the days wore on, the warden became less and less impatient or patient, excuse me. She arrived later in the morning and left early in the afternoon. Meanwhile, the boys continued to dig later and later. This is no longer than it was when I felt you yesterday, she said after arriving late one morning. Well, alter sunrise. What have you been doing down there? Nothing, said Squid. It was the wrong thing to say. At, at just that moment, Armpit was returning from the bathroom break. Next page. How nice of you to join us, she said. And what have you been doing? I had to, go. The warden jabbed at Armpit with her pitchfork, knocking him backwards into the big hole. The pitchfork left 3 holes in his in front of his shirt, and 3 tiny spots of blood. You're giving these boys too much water, the wardens told Mr. Podansky. They continued to dig until the late afternoon, long after all the other groups had finished for the day. Stanley was down in the big hole, along with the other 6 boys. They had stopped using the wheelbarrow. He dug his shovel, I'm getting mixed up here. He dug his shovel into the side of the hole. He scooped up some dirt and was raising it up to the surface when Zigzag shovel caught him in the side of the head. He collapsed. He wasn't sure if he passed out or not. He looked up to see Zigzag, wild head staring down at him. I ain't digging that dirt up, Zigzag said. That's your dirt. Hey, Mom, Magnet said. Caveman been hurt. Stanley brought his fingers up to the side of his neck. He felt his wet blood and pretty big gash just below his ear. Magnet helped Stanley to his feet, then up and down out of the hole. Mr. Sir made a bandage out of a piece of sack of sunflower seeds and taped it over Stanley's wound. Then he told him to get back to work. It isn't nap time. When Stanley returned to the hole, Zigzag was waiting for him. That's your dirt, Zigzag said. You have to dig it up. It's covering up my dirt. Stanley felt a little dizzy. He could see a small pile of dirt. It took him a moment to realize that it was the dirt which has been on the shovel when he was hit. He scooped it up, then Zigzag dug a shovel into the ground underneath where Stanley dirt had been. Well, this was another good chapter I've read, but I'm trying to figure out why the wheelbarrows was taken. I don't know, for that most part, the wheelbarrows had been taken. They dug a really big hole. I guess they connected all the holes that the boys dug, all 6 boys dug. Made one big hole. I'm trying to figure out why that hole is so big. I guess we'll figure it out next chapter, chapter 18. All right, I want everybody to like, share, subscribe to my podcast. Hit that notification button to know when I go live. Ring that bell for updates on my podcast. And if you have a chatter letter that you would like to have broadcast on my podcast, please send it to the Chatterbox Letters Podcast, Post Office Box 5556, Lakeland, Florida 33807. You can write anything you would like to write in your chatter letter. Please keep it clean, your letters clear and discreet. Please do not hesitate to send me your chatter letters. Please, you guys. Please, please, please. Procrastinate and send me your letter today. Thank you.